Mixed martial arts, MMA, is a full-contact combat sport based on striking, grappling, and ground fighting, incorporating techniques from various combat sports from around the world. The first documented use of the term mixed martial arts was in a review of UFC 1 by television critic Howard Rosenberg in 1993. During the early 20th century, various international contests took place throughout Japan and in the countries of the East Asia. At the same time, in Brazil, there was a phenomenon called Vale Tudo, which became known for unrestricted fights between various styles, such as judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, catch wrestling, luta livre, Muay Thai, and capoeira. Another precursor to modern MMA was the 1976 Ali versus Inoki exhibition bout, which ended in a draw after 15 rounds, fought between boxer Muhammad Ali and wrestler Antonio Inoki in Japan, where it later inspired the foundation of Shudo in 1985, Pancrase in 1993, and the Pride Fighting Championships in 1997. In the 1990s, the Gracie family brought their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu style, first developed in Brazil from the 1920s, to the United States, which culminated in the founding of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC promotion company in 1993. The company held an event with almost no rules, mostly due to the influence of Art Davie and Rory and Gracie attempting to replicate Vale Tudo fights that existed in Brazil and would later implement a different set of rules. Example, eliminating kicking a grounded opponent, which differed from other leagues which were more in favor of realistic street-like fights. Originally promoted as a competition to find the most effective martial arts for real unarmed combat, competitors from different fighting styles were pitted against one another in contests with relatively few rules. Later, individual fighters incorporated multiple martial arts into their style. MMA promoters were pressured to adopt additional rules to increase competitors' safety, to comply with sport regulations, and to broaden mainstream acceptance of the sport. Following these changes, the sport has seen increased popularity with a pay-per-view business that rivals boxing and professional wrestling. Modern sport, the movement that led to the creation of present-day mixed martial arts scenes, emerged from a confluence of several earlier martial arts scenes. The Vale Tudo events in Brazil, rooftop fights in Hong Kong, street fighting culture, and professional wrestlers, especially in Japan. Vale Tudo began in the 1920s and became renowned through its association with the Gracie Challenge, which was issued by Carlos Gracie and Helio Gracie and upheld later by descendants of the Gracie family. The Gracie challenges were held in the garages and gyms of the Gracie family members. When the popularity grew, these types of mixed bouts were a staple attraction at the carnivals in Brazil. In the mid-20th century, mixed martial arts contests emerged in Hong Kong's street fighting culture in the form of rooftop fights. During the early 20th century, there was an influx of migrants from mainland China, including Chinese martial arts teachers who opened up martial arts schools in Hong Kong. In the mid-20th century, soaring crime in Hong Kong, combined with limited Hong Kong police manpower, led to many young Hong Kongers learning martial arts for self-defense. Around the 1960s, there were about 400 martial arts schools in Hong Kong, teaching their own distinctive styles of martial arts. In Hong Kong's street fighting culture, there emerged a rooftop fight scene in the 1950s and 1960s, where gangs from rival martial arts schools challenged each other to bare-knuckle fights on Hong Kong's rooftops in order to avoid crackdowns by colonial British Hong Kong authorities. The most famous fighter to emerge from Hong Kong's rooftop fight scene was Bruce Lee, who combined different techniques from different martial arts schools into his own hybrid martial arts system called Jeet Kune Do. Lee went on to popularize the concept of mixed martial arts internationally. Early mixed-match martial arts professional wrestling bouts in Japan, known as Ishu Kakutogi Sen, Yi Zhong Geidao Ji Jan, literally heterogeneous combat sports bouts, became popular with Antonio Inoki only in the 1970s. Inoki was a disciple of Rikidozan, but also of Karl Gotch, who trained numerous Japanese wrestlers in catch wrestling. Regulated mixed martial arts competitions were first introduced in the United States by CV Productions, Inc. Its first competition, called Tough Guy Contest, was held on March 20th, 1980, New Kensington, Pennsylvania, Holiday Inn. During that year, the company renamed the brand to Super Fighters and sanctioned 10 regulated tournaments in Pennsylvania. In 1983, Pennsylvania State Senate passed a bill known as the Tough Guy Law that specifically called for prohibiting tough guy contests or Battle of the Brawlers contests and ended the sport. Japan had its own form of mixed martial arts discipline, Shuto, which evolved from shoot wrestling in 1985, as well as the shoot wrestling derivative Pancrase, which was founded as a promotion in 1993. Pancrase 1 was held in Japan in September 1993, 2 months before UFC 1 was held in the United States in November 1993. In 1993, the sport was reintroduced to the United States by the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC. UFC promoters initially pitched the event as a real-life fighting video game tournament similar to Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. The sport gained international exposure and widespread publicity when jiu-jitsu fighter Royce Gracie won the first Ultimate Fighting Championship tournament, submitting 3 challengers in a total of just 5 minutes, sparking a revolution in martial arts. The first Veil Tudo Japan tournaments were held in 1994 and 1995 and were both won by Rickson Gracie. Around the same time, international Veil Tudo competition started to develop through World Veil Tudo Championship, WVC, VTJ, IVC, UVF, etc. Interest in mixed martial arts as a sport resulted in the creation of the Pride Fighting Championships, Pride, in 1997. The sport reached a new peak of popularity in North America in December 2006. A rematch between then UFC light heavyweight champion Chuck Liddell and former champion Tito Ortiz rivaled the PPV sales of some of the biggest boxing events of all time and helped the UFC's 2006 PPV gross surpass that of any promotion in PPV history. In 2007, Zuffa LLC, the owners of the UFC MMA promotion, bought Japanese rival MMA brand Pride FC, merging the contracted fighters under one promotion. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the next video you want to see.